The Great Chinese Famine, the most terrible period in China's history. The Great Chinese Famine, which occurred between 1959 and 1961, was one of the most devastating famines in history. This disaster left a profound trauma in China's history and was shaped by the disastrous consequences of policies implemented under the leadership of Mao Zedong. Mao's Great Leap Forward plan and the subsequent Cultural Revolution led to the deaths of millions and the widespread destruction of the country. During this period, China's agricultural production nearly collapsed. Harrow 1. The Great Leap Forward and its beginnings. In 1958, Mao Zedong launched the Great Leap Forward with the aim of rapidly industrializing China and increasing agricultural production. However, this plan was implemented with overly ambitious goals and accompanied by false production reports. The process of collectivization, where peasants' lands were nationalized and large agricultural collectives called communes were created, was initiated. Peasants were forced to work on collective farms. These policies led to the elimination of effective agricultural methods, resulting in significantly lower food production. Additionally, poor soil cultivation techniques, soil erosion, and climate factors worsened the situation. 2. The decision to kill the sparrows. One of the most controversial decisions during the Great Leap Forward was Mao's campaign to eradicate sparrows. Mao claimed that sparrows were harming crops and ordered a large-scale effort to kill them. Millions of sparrows were killed. However, sparrows fed on insects that damaged crops, so their extermination led to a massive insect outbreak. The unchecked increase in insects further damaged China's agricultural production. 3. Famine and death. By the end of the Great Leap Forward, agricultural production in China had collapsed. As a result, between 1959 and 1961, millions of people died from starvation and famine. The famine peaked in 1960, and some estimates suggest that about 45 million people died. However, the actual death toll remains debated. During this time, peasants were forced to consume any available food source just to survive. The food crisis created psychological trauma throughout society. 4. Forced labor and societal collapse. Peasants were forced to work on state-owned collective farms and in large industrial projects. Every peasant was assigned production quotas, but these quotas were unrealistic and impossible for peasants to meet. The working conditions were harsh. Food shortages, inadequate nutrition, and excessive labor led to widespread exhaustion. Furthermore, the collapse in agricultural production made food even harder to obtain. 5. Social structure and psychological effects. During the famine, to survive, people resorted to extreme and savage behaviors. People ate each other's flesh, consumed the bodies of the dead, and families abandoned one another. The social fabric disintegrated, and psychological trauma lingered for many years. Many peasants were so desperate that they couldn't even collect the bodies of their deceased family members. The famine caused not only physical, but also emotional and psychological devastation. This trauma deeply impacted the thinking of subsequent generations and the general mentality of society. 6. The aftermath of the Great Leap Forward. After the Great Famine, Mao's policies were seen as a complete failure. China, having learned from this disaster, had to adopt a more cautious and realistic approach. However, the memories of the famine years continue to linger in China today. The recovery that followed led China to take more careful steps in economic and agricultural matters. Even today, the memories of famine and hunger during this period have left deep scars in Chinese society. The aftermath of the Great Leap Forward taught a crucial lesson to China and the world. Poor governance, extreme ideologies, and policies disconnected from reality can deeply destabilize a society. The Great Chinese Famine was not only one of the most terrible periods in China's history, but it also serves as a reminder to the world of how bad management and ideologically driven policies can have devastating consequences on a nation and its people.